This is different from the plasma shifts. Plasma.
You're talking about
Plasma
the plasma ships that are seen here in Mexico, pretty much. That's entirely well. The plasma ships are people. A lot of people think that they're, because they look like they're flying around in what things that look like flying saucers. They glow. They're bright orange, different shades of orange to yellow, and they kind of have a pulsing nature to them. And a lot of people in Mexico have seen these ships. They're not ETs. They come from within the Earth, and they're actually important to us, and they're not like the Greys who are trying to mess with us. They really care about us. They love us. In the future, they will manifest to us. They're strange looking. They're only about 3 feet high. They have a giant head, and they glow, and they're pure light. If you've ever seen them, they can walk right through each other. And their ships, when they get off the ship gets littler. When they get back on, it gets bigger. And then sometimes will rise in the air and split into 2 or 3, or they'll break apart and go in different directions. They're pure light beings, and they live deep inside the Earth in these huge orange sacs. And just know that if they ever appear to you somehow, that they are living in their hearts, and they're concerned about us. They have a story that was told to me about them, and this story comes from someone named Carlos Diaz here, who is associated with these beings. But these beings used to be on the surface of the Earth a long time ago, and I think that may be like 1 million years or a very long period of time ago. And they were they were like us. They didn't look exactly like us, but they were like us, and they went down a very similar road as us. They began to make electronic inventions, etc., and they discovered electricity. And so they began to create a world kind of like ours, with vehicles and all this kind of technology and boxes that could talk to each other around the world and everything. And they started doing the same thing. They started killing the Earth. The Earth can't survive under those kinds of technologies. And what they say is that an ET spaceship came to Earth, landed, and walked up to them and told them, and all they did was tell them something about themselves. And then they left and never came back. The ETs never came back. And it, because it was such an incredible event to have someone come from somewhere else and talk to you, they took it seriously, but they couldn't understand it because it was so simple. And they said it took them about 100 years to understand it. And when they did, their bodies became pure light, when they really understood what it was. And then soon after that, they decided to not live on the surface of the Earth, but to go in the Earth. Why they decided that, who knows? And it's just a decision, But that's what they did. And so they're watching us now, knowing that we are going through a specific stage of awareness that they had gone through a long time ago. And so all they want to do is tell us something about ourselves. Only since they know us better than those ETs did, they want to accelerate and not have 100 years before we understand what that is. And so they are really do and really can be a great assistance to humankind.
But they are waiting the correct moment for...
Yeah, at the right moment they will. They've appeared to a lot of human beings, but mostly in Mexico. They also started to do it in Japan, and because Japan has a similar purity of heart that the Mexican people have, and you have something really special.
What we have so special?
you have a connection to Mother Earth and to family and to the heart that is truly important for the rest of the world. And they recognize that. So do the Japanese people. But for whatever the reason, they stopped doing it in Japan and have focused on Mexico. And also, for another reason, many Mexican people have, in the very beginning when they started appearing, they actually started appearing about almost 30 years ago, but they started appearing a lot in the late 90s. And at that time, they were coming out of the earth. Their ships come right out of solid rock because they're just pure light and emerge into the atmosphere. They were emerging out of the volcano that is south of Mexico City, Popo.
Popocatépetl.
Popo.
Yes, I have seen some pictures of the explosions and the ships.
Yeah, where they come out.
Uh-huh.
They're big. They're about the size of a huge football field, sometimes twice that big. Once we saw them as big as a huge valley. They change shape depending on how many people are on board. Well, what's very interesting about that particular place that they were coming out of is that there are about 100 people in the world, human beings, who have discovered that the surface of their skin is topographically matches the surface of the earth. Now, Melchizedeks know that the energy fields of the Mer-Ka-Ba fields around the earth are identical to the Mer-Ka-Ba fields that are around human beings. And so there's a real relationship between human beings and the earth. I mean, we came out of the earth, at any rate, these human beings discovered that certain places, like, I don't know what they are, but like this might be Italy, and this is Japan, and this is the United States, this is Canada, and they know this, and they've all come to this. They live all over the world, and they recently, 10 years ago, found each other and had a meeting, and they agree completely that there's no disagreement that that the surface, exactly where every place is on the earth. And directly under the left breast, where it kind of comes together to the surface there's a spot right about here that goes through, and that spot goes directly into the heart, and it is the place where the heart emerges onto the surface of the body. And that place on the surface of the earth is that volcano, and the volcano. Yes. And so for them to come out of there is pretty amazing. And also, right after they started coming out, and they were coming out on many times a day, so it was just like an in and out motion, coming in and out, in and out. It became I don't know how to say this. It's just the relationship between all of that, between the heart and the heart space and that place in the world. I think that probably also had a lot to do with why they emerged into Mexico first. And so Mexico, in the geographical location of the landmass of Mexico, according to these 100 people or so, is the opening to the heart of the world. Now, I know the Kogi feel that where they are is the heart of the world, and perhaps they also have another way of entering into the earth. I have great respect for them too, but at any rate, I thought that might be interesting for people to know.
Yes, of course.